Hi, Mike DePung here. Yesterday, I started sharing with you the uh, poem that Maya Angelou wrote on the pulse of morning. It's a very incredible poem. I would encourage you to look it up on YouTube and listen to it, or uh, just look it up and read it. It is just amazing. And I shared yesterday the message of the rock in a very brief form. Again, it's from what I'm reading from is my book, Martin, Maya, and Me, A Brief Exploration of Social Injustice. And while this is the last day of Black History Month, um, the quest for equality and everybody enjoying their freedom and to obliterate the essence of racism, that's not limited to a month. And I've learned about some amazing people this month, African Americans, Blacks, who uh, this society wouldn't be what it is without them. Um, but I'm going to stick very closely here to my chapter that's called Respond to the River Song, Yearn for Peace, and this section of it that's called What Can We Learn from a River Song? And I just want to read this and listen, maybe make a few comments. I don't know, maybe I don't need to. If you want this book, you can find it at Spine Bookstore in South St. Louis on Arsenal Street, right off of Highway 55. Or you can simply contact me and I will make sure that you get a copy. Um, so here is part of this chapter. Reading this poem of Maya Angelou, so reminiscent of Thoreau, Emerson, Whitman, and British romantics in many ways, we wonder at the continued relevance of the messages. The choice to personify elements of nature like the rock, the river, the tree, reveals spirit essence in all. Great people think. I won't say just great people. Let's say it this way: thoughtful, caring people of love who understand what heart energy is, who have responded to their own hearts. They know that spirit is in everything, including a rock, a river, and a tree. And that's what Maya Angelou recognized. The energies of life beat, vibrate, and radiate from all in this universe and wait to be tapped for their wisdom. See, it's available to all of us. We just have to awaken to our heart and let our heart be the guide. We raise our minds, souls, and bodies to perceive these frequencies by choosing to respond to our own heart, which is to discover self, create purpose to live that self, and humbly learn. Now, creating purpose to live that self, it just means finding a way every day to express the essence of love that we are, the essence of heart spirit that we are. Healing of society and the history of our race begins with this healing work of each of us individually. I ended with that yesterday. We have a choice, ego or heart. To awaken to heart begins the healing work that we all desperately want at some level. We don't always acknowledge it, but it's there. And I can't stress enough that the healing of societal ills and traumas begins with you. And that's just it. It begins with you and me. Laws can't change it. Laws can protect against ego choices. There are two kinds of freedom. I wrote about this in my journal this morning. There's ego freedom and there's heart freedom. Ego freedom says, I want what I want, and I should be able to get it anytime. It doesn't matter who it hurts, who gets crushed. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters except I need to be free. I need to be happy. I want to shoot my AR-15, and it's just fun. Doesn't matter if that's the main weapon of choice for mass shootings all over the United States. That's ego freedom. Heart freedom is I care about others and I choose to enjoy expressing my love to them and looking for their love to be expressed my way. Ego freedom, heart freedom. All of this begins individually. From the rock's testimony of the past, observations of the present, and prophecy of the future, we read and seamlessly slide into the voice of the river. Across the wall of the world, a river sings a beautiful song. The river offers her shores, a place to consider her, appeals to the soul. Humans have drawn unnatural boundaries on the face of globes and maps, those lines, shapes, and entities defined by us as nations. To ego, they offer a sense of security and separation. Arbitrary lines that many interpret as this far and no further. We are better than you. Quite often, though, rivers demarcate artificial borders. Sorry, I lost my place. Each of you a bordered country, and this is a quote from the poem, each of you a bordered country, delicate and strangely made proud, yet thrusting perpetually under siege. It's like the river is saying, I don't understand you. You're so proud. You've got nothing to be proud of. This is all artificial. This is all ego. Ego seeks to isolate and protect, and it does so in detrimental ways if we do not call on heart. The existence of nations indicates ego energy and illustrates how people, mostly men, deliberately chose ego and denied heart in establishing distinctions that create discord and ultimately war. The military and blustering declarations of war represent strength only to delicate egos. You hear that? It's not like we're strong, we're mighty, we can blast you away. And the other side thinks the same. That's baby shit. Um, that's that can kill, yes, but it's certainly not a mark of heart. It's certainly not a mark of the nobility that we came here to live and to know. Is that a strong statement? The river would agree, wouldn't it? The river's estimate of nations recognizes that they are delicate and strangely made proud because they are artificial, they are weak, frail. They rise and fall sometimes overnight with no cause for pride. Therefore, this is strange and unnatural to the river. Oh, yes, this is river's intended message. The nations are thrusting perpetually under siege. The unbridled expressions of hypernationalism seen both now in alarming expansion and throughout history in many countries might make egotists think they are powerful, but they are not. They make no true peace with their constant cycles of war. Truly strong nations would not have to fight endlessly. Why? The ability to wage war is the only possible result of ego-fueled nationalism, is certainly not based on heart energy. Rather, this penchant for flexing muscles derives from this. The quote from the poem, your armed struggles for profit have left collars of waste upon my shore, currents of debris upon my breast. The river frames her song not only with the beauty of passion, but also with the accrued evidence of the detritus of waging war for profit. And that's all it is. They wage war for profit. Nature, ravaged by the ego choices of humanity and the unabashed dash for wealth, power, and control, results in death and destruction. We did not take on physicality for those reasons. From its unique vantage point of being a border, the river has witnessed war from the inception of nations. How can we learn the lessons from such keen observation, such deep wisdom? If you will study war no more, is what the river says. But what about them? What about the threats? What about those who won't give us what we want? What about? Keep asking the questions. The answer is the same from the river. Come, clad in peace, and I will sing the songs. They are songs of peace, harmony, and natural order, the natural laws in place from the beginning, quote, when I and the tree and the stone were one. The founders of the United States of America expressed these tenets of natural law in their work, even though the reality of much of that law escaped them in practice, witnessed by the inhumane treatment of indigenous peoples and the fostering of slavery of Africans and others. However, heart energy observes these natural laws of human dignity, respect and care for the environment, equality, and freedom, heart freedom. Those in the fellowship of the heart know that individuals must have the opportunity to discover self and create purpose based on the parameters of natural law. Governments can protect those rights by laws that harmonize with natural law. Progress in a nation framed by heart energy should be marked by continued awakening and sensitivity to the messages of nature, not to ignore nature. and they should have an awakening and sensitivity to the pleas of activists like Dr. King, John Lewis, and authors like Maya Angelou. When were these laws enacted? The river says, before cynicism was a bloody sear across your brow, and when you yet knew, you still knew nothing. Yeah, that's when there was real wisdom, when when people knew that they knew nothing without the rock, the river, the stone, or the tree. Um, no ego arguments, no rationalizations, no alarmist fears, no hubris and pounding of chests. River, in its ever-flowing course, has a song to sing to us of peace, harmony, and natural law, a song of heart energy, spirit itself. Cynicism reeks of superiority, breeds bigotry, and creates unhappiness. What response would tend to a harmonious flow that may yield a peaceful society? Admitting we don't know everything and all ideas are worthy of consideration. That's what it would be. There is no virtue in knowing everything because no one does. Even if anyone believes they know most everything about the most important things, they lie and deceive self. All the unyielding political stances and always being right begin the pollution of the river, that detritus upon our shores. A false sense of omniscience is ego's feeble attempt to control our world. We think we know everything and know what is best for all, and that is ego. While some elements of humanity continue boastful foolishness, they do not and cannot stop the melody. For the river sings and sings on. Nature's voice will not be silenced as long as we exist. Its testimony exposes ego when it is misused and evokes heart energy to challenge us to experience the higher frequencies of life that we came here to know. Everything else, all that war crap, everything else is distraction. All that oppression, all that superiority, all that knowing what is best for a whole race of people, that's all distraction. That's meaningless. That's not politics, and government shouldn't be about that kind of stuff. Politics and government should be about how do we allow for heart freedom? What do we do? And then we have to have laws to protect against those who think like those who have littered the shores of the river. The evidence of heart within each of us is found here with the river. She says, there's a true yearning to respond to the singing river and the wise rock. The fact that many of us long for a swift end to foolish ego hostilities and learn from nature shows heart energy operates in us and longs for productive peace. We want to respond. Hope can be known when we admit what we don't know. Then we can hear and heed nature. Then we can communicate with one another. That's the end of that chapter, the last part of that chapter. So again, these are words of healing. The healing begins with us individually and it spreads. It can only begin with us. If you want to be part of that solution, begin with yourself. Begin knowing healing by listening to heart, awakening to your own heart, and knowing that your essence and the essence of everyone else that you look at is one of love. Others don't always make it easy. We don't always make it easy. I don't always make it easy. I know that. And so I know that there's no way I can begin to say, this is the script for this. All I can say is the beginning is to hear your heart. Until next time, love and peace.